Well, I think that it depends both on the strengths of the person, but it also depends on the state of knowledge. I think, autodidacticism is particularly potent when there has not been that much good work done, or when the good work that had been done in the past is mostly abandoned. So say, if you wanted to do science, being an autodidact was a great idea in 1550, because you're kind of at the dawn of the Renaissance. You can easily like do some private experiments and read some Aristotle and figure out, wait, we can extend Aristotle, or we can disprove Aristotle, right? So you can get pretty far that way. Being an autodidact would probably been the wrong choice in 1900 if you wanted to be a contributing physicist, because there were these amazing communities of practice, like the Olympian Society, which is the one that Albert Einstein frequented, right? And then later, there was a true republic of letters. I almost want to make a joke and say latter-day republic of letters among physicists from 1910 to about 1940, where, why is Oppenheimer citing Hindu scripture? Well, because he's read Hindu scripture. He's read a lot of it. He's also read a lot of Marx. He's actually thought about a lot of different things. And Einstein regularly would talk to the best philosophers of his era to clarify concepts. Compare the wideness of the spirit and the intellect to the narrowness of the modern expert, right? There's something just off here. There's something wrong. So I think that because something is off and something is wrong, scenes are really hard to find today. They exist, but they can be very marginal seeming, on the edge of being crackpotty. Ideally, you have to stay on the right edge, right? There is no, let's put it this way, treason doth never prosper because, none dare call it treason if it does. I think crackpots never prosper because no one is called a crackpot if they succeed, right? So when Isaac Newton spending half of his time debating, reading into the Bible, the correct relation of the angels and of alchemy, and the other half on gravity, we don't think of him as a crackpot, even though in terms of a cognitive profile, he's the archetypical crackpot. Like he's sticking needles in his eyes, for God's sake. I mean, God, biohacking, right? Yeah, he did optics experiments where he would stick just a needle into his eye. And his bet on angels didn't work out, or so we think, I think. But his bet on figuring out movement and gravity and mathematization of those, that did work out. I still, if I wanted to have a breakthrough in cognitive science, I would, try to talk to a cognitive scientist, a young, ambitious one, and say, I think you should secretly read the translations of Isaac Newton's work on the mathematization of human emotion and tell no one you've read them, and then try to translate them into modern scientific language. And I guarantee you there would be at least 5 or 6 excellent ideas. There would probably be breakthrough papers, but he must never tell anyone the secret that he got it from Newton. Stuff like this just happens all the time, by the way. People are inspired by sources that are ultimately not credited. So it is difficult to figure out what the live players are doing sometimes, right? It's difficult to figure out where they're getting inspiration. And yes, I am also saying that Isaac Newton was specifically theorizing about human psychology and the interrelation of emotions, right? If you go read, say, Thomas Aquinas' theology, it's very clear. It's talking about the specifications of emotions and when they appear and when they don't appear. It's not just making claims about metaphysics. It's making claims about the mind. So if people gave Newton's writing on that as much benefit of the doubt as they give Buddhist writing, I think there would be interesting breakthroughs to be had. But the work of laundering Buddhism through science was only recently undertaken in California. So maybe one day Newton will also be laundered through modern science.